You're tuned into Recovery TV, the voice of hope, with your host, John J. Tassoni Jr. Discussions and information on addiction and mental health issues. Here's your host, John J. Tassoni Jr., with today's guest.
Thank you for joining me on today's edition of Recovery TV. And I'm your host, John Tassoni. Narcan, please get it. URI has a bunch of it. CVS has it. All the pharmacies have it. If you pick it up, put it in your purse, keep it in your car. At night, please take it in because the heat and the cold affects the use of it, but it saves lives. My guest today is Mr. Paul Rocchio. Mr. Rocchio is a clinician in the area of gambling. So welcome, and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me here, John.
So give us a little bit of background of Paul Rocchio and how you got involved with helping people with gambling issues.
Well, I'm a person with lived experience, John, so that brought me to the realm of gambling. But my family had a business on Park Avenue in Cranston for 40 years, and when some changes needed to be made, and it was time for me to find something else to do, I got a nudge to go back to school. So I started out, and helping others was always a passion of mine. So I started out in human services at CCRI, obtained an associate's, and oddly enough, sold cars for a year after that because I went on an unemployment waiver to earn my associate's. And they said, if you're offered a job, take it. So I was offered a job selling cars. I did that for a year. And when that had run its course, I felt a nudge again to go back and earn my bachelor's degree in social work and move towards becoming a counselor. And in my internship, I had a friend that worked at an agency. I said, can I get a job? He said, sure. And after putting in a lot of intern hours, I said to the CEO, geez, this is a lot of hours working for free. And she said, what, you want to get paid? I said, yes, please. And I started a paid internship. When I finished that, they hired me. And then through that agency, an email came through. I got the opportunity to earn my master's in a graduate program, and I did that as well. So it started out with, I think it often takes an impetus, a catalyst to get people to change dramatically, and I was in that family business for 40 years. So if things hadn't made me change, I don't know that I would have started it, but I am grateful that things changed.
So let me ask you a question. You said lived experience. So what was your lived experience?
So in my life, I always enjoyed gambling. I'd get to, in elementary school, we'd get to school early and play high-low jack for lunch money on the cafeteria tables.
Oh!
And some days I ate very well, and some days I went hungry, although it doesn't appear it. Then time progressed, and my dad's was a master mechanic, and one of his customers was a lottery director, and he used to repair the lottery director's car, and when scratch tickets came out, we were one of the first businesses to take them on. And I think that's when the urge to gamble really took me over, because, you know, I'd wash windows and check oils and get a buck and buy a ticket. But then when I didn't get any tips, I said, well, when I win, I'll put the money back. Mm-hmm. And that's when I think the compulsion to gamble came. The tickets didn't make much money, and eventually my dad did away with them. And over the course of time, I gamble in various venues. I give a friend money to make a sports bet for me, or I go to a casino. These weren't my what I'll refer to as my poison of choices. And then when my dad retired and that repair facility became a convenience store, we took lottery back in, and that's when my downfall started to happen. And let me tell you, John, I'm not blaming the lottery. I had this compulsive disorder from
Yeah.
go. And so I started taking tickets, and it developed into a real problem, and I had to find help. And that's another thing that helped me get into this field, is that I went to a clinician that helped me. And I also got involved in a community-based self-help program, and I saw how well those worked. So I to this day, still find the efficacy in self-help programs, but I think professionals like myself, anybody who uses both of those options has the best chance of recovery.
You know, I have to give you a lot of credit. Turning your life around like that, now helping other people that get themselves in a jam. You know, we all, I mean, obviously I sit on the board with you, and we all see the damage that gambling can do to folks, whether you're 18 years old or 55 years old,
Absolutely.
or whatever in between, but whether you're male or female. That compulsiveness and the urge to, oh, I'm only going to get one more ticket, or I'm only going to put another $1 in the machine, or I'm only going to bet one more bet. But it just progresses to a point where we get the calls, we turn them over to you, and then the impetus of trying to get these people back to where they're supposed to be, and the amount of money that they've already lost, and try to get them to become responsible again, is a very, 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 very heavy lift.
I couldn't agree more. Somebody who develops this disorder has a brain that has changed, and changing it to a healthier brain, I often tell people, my broken thinker can't fix my broken thinker, so I need help beyond myself. Thank you for giving me credit. I think a majority of that credit goes to a power greater than myself. I have to tell you that there's a few different definitions of this disorder. One is risking something of value in the hope of gaining something of greater value. I think the ASAM definition is repeating a behavior that was once pleasurable despite negative consequences. And that self-help program's definition is any bidding or wagering for self or others, whether for money or not, where the outcome depends upon chance or skill, constitutes gambling. So regardless of the definition that you use, once someone crosses the line from recreational, social, occasional gambling to irresponsible, uncontrolled gambling, crossing that line back is impossible. It's dealing with the disorder once you have it so it can be arrested. And that's what I strive to do. I try to help people live healthier, happier lives with the disorder arrested.
Yeah. Well, we're going to get you unarrested right now, because I got to go to break and pay the bills. You're watching Recovery TV, and I'm your host, John Tassoni. We'll be right back after these messages with Paul Rocchio.
And now, back to Recovery TV with your host, John J. Tassoni Jr. Recovery TV is made possible by our supporting sponsors and our title sponsor, AdCare. Now, here's John and today's guest.
Welcome back to Recovery TV, and I'm your host, John Tassoni. Mr. Paul Rocchio is my guest, gentleman who has life experience in gambling. So, Paul, thank you for coming on today. I greatly appreciate you sharing your story. And most of all, there is hope in recovery, because you're sitting here, now you're a counselor, now you're helping people get away from the issue of problem gambling.
So I often say, John, that sometimes God turns your biggest challenges into your greatest assets. Had I not encountered the problem, I'd have no idea of the solution. And I'll tell you, the services that are available for people with a gambling problem in this state are pretty significant. They're not everything we want them to be, but they're substantially better than what used to be, which is virtually nothing. So the Rhode Island Council on Problem Gambling does quite a bit of work. In their sister agency, Problem Gambling Services, PGS, which can be reached through people dialing that 1-800-GAMBLER number or directly at Toro
211 too.
211.
Yep.
They can reach PGS or 499-2472 will get them directly there. But the idea is that once they connect, they can get screened, and then they can get a licensed therapist to help them with their problem. They can join groups, clinical groups of other people that have begun to solve the problem. I provide peer services. And so peer services are by someone who has lived experience, who's had the problem, who has at least 2 years bet-free, and I have a few more 24 hours than that by the grace of a power greater.
How long?
Again, because I've been blessed, I have just over 21 years
Wow.
since my last
Good
bet.
for you.
Yeah.
Good for you.
And oftentimes, thank you for bringing that up, because what I've found is oftentimes there's co-occurring
Right.
disorders, and people have more than one issue. So not only did I gamble, maybe I drank a little more than I should have, maybe dry goods was in the picture. I think primarily it was a behavioral problem. So I explain it this way to people. If I'm a jackass who gambles, and then I go to meetings and stop gambling, now I'm a jackass who doesn't gamble or goes to meetings, but I'm still a jackass. And once you get exposed to some therapeutic interventions and some self-help work, you start to see it's the jackass that needs to change. So that's the blessing. The blessing is my relationships are better today. I think more positively than negatively. I've been given a whole new career and chance at life. Some days I'm actually happy.
Well, you know, Paul, there's a lot of people that don't realize that a dollar bet can go to a $10 bet, and can go to a $100 bet, and can go to 500 and 1,000. Then all of a sudden, you're in the grace of God of a toilet that you're going down. You're spinning in it.
Absolutely.
And then, unfortunately, you know, when you go to the casinos, there's no step back. You know, you need to have self-control. And if you don't have self-control, you'll be calling the leadership council that has to call you that you're 17, 18, 20, 30, 40, $50,000 in the hole. I mean, I can't understand. I mean, the kids are young today. They you know, they flounder in college. They bet on college games. They bet on pro sports. But the amount of money that they're betting today is not like it used to be in the numbers before. It's in the thousands. And every channel you turn on today, and when you watch Sports Center or anybody else that has a professional sport, there's a bet.
So there was a lot in what you just said, and I appreciate you bringing those topics up. One, you discussed the progression of the illness, and yes, $10 goes to 10,000, but depending upon your financial situation, $10 is as critical to someone as 10,000 is to another person. So it's not about the money; it's what it does to you. And you were talking about sports betting. That's the fastest growing segment of gambling today. It used to be elderly people who would get on a bus and get to the casino and spend their Social Security check at the beginning of every month and go through the month broke. Now, it's that high school, college student whose casino is as close as their cell phone. And the sports betting by youths between 18 to 27 is the fastest growing segment. And some would tell you 18 to 35. But you know, that's the problem, the accessibility and the amounts of money. Gambling in 2018, the revenue created by gambling surpassed the revenue of the NBA, the MLB, and the NHL combined.
Wow.
And it was set by this year, and I think it's already done so, to surpass those three plus the NFL. We're talking tens of billions of dollars. I do know that in Rhode Island, the revenue created by gambling is the second largest revenue generator for the state. After property tax, gambling makes the most amount of money.
Yeah.
So, of all the people in the state that gamble, 20% of those that gamble do 80% of the gambling.
Right.
So it's not that person that goes on their birthday and win or lose, goes home and had a meal and a show and a good time and made a few bets. It's those few people that develop a problem. And I think the hook for a lot of people is that first big win.
Yeah.
And I think that's
you
what
get it going.
That's
You I
created.
can do it again. I can do it again.
So it's that dopamine drop and the oxytocin and the serotonin that saturates your brain, and your brain never forgets how good that first win was. And much like a person who uses drugs, the first time was great. And then after a while, you're not even enjoying it, but you're using it because it's become habitual.
Right.
It's the same thing with gambling.
Paul, we got to take another quick break, but I'll tell you one thing. I bet every day when I get up. I gamble every day when I get up to make sure I make it through the day. That's as far as I go. You're watching Recovery TV, and I'm your host, John Tassoni. We'll be right back with Paul Rocchio right after these messages.
Now, back to Recovery TV with your host, John J. Tassoni Jr. Recovery TV is made possible by our supporting sponsors and our title sponsor, AdCare. Now, here's John and today's guest.
Welcome back to Recovery TV, and I'm your host, John Tassoni. Paul Rocchio is in the house, and Paul's a gentleman with life experience in problem gambling. And Paul, I want to thank you so much for coming on today and telling your story, because there is hope in recovery. You're sitting there. You're sitting there. Let me ask you a question, Paul. Do you have your own practice?
I don't, John. Right currently, I practice clinically at a place called Bridgemark Addiction Recovery Services. It's on Elmwood Avenue in Warwick. It's on the bus line for those that don't drive, and they give services to people with substance misuse, gambling disorder, anger management. They provide a number of mental health services. I also am a provider for PGS. Again, I think I had mentioned I provide peer services for them.
Yep.
And what's great about that, if people are uninsured or underinsured and want help, PGS will help them with that problem regardless of their ability to pay. And what I like about it is I get to meet people in the community. I can meet them at a Dunkin' Donuts or a Panera, and we can have a cup of coffee and a conversation, and it's very non-threatening. Someday, may I start my own practice? I could. I'm licensed to do so. That being said, I'm getting a little long in the tooth, John, and I don't know how much longer I want to do this.
So I want to ask you one question, Paul. We only have a minute left. Is the problem getting worse?
Absolutely. They find that anyone who lives within 50 miles of a casino, it has 6 times the chance of developing a gambling problem. So the proliferation of casinos up and down the East Coast.
Yeah, right.
Plus, your casino can be as close as your phone now. It is getting worse. I feel like a pilgrim on the Mayflower, and knowing that those clinical practices in those halls that invite people in with the problem for help, we're like, again, the pilgrims.
Thank you. I appreciate you coming on. I want to let my viewers know next week, Dr. Chris Aniano from Neighborhood Healthcare Plan will be my guest. If you see something, say something. We'll see you next week.